Welcome to Spectrum News at 4, coming to you live from Oyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. My name is Ofonono Joseph. Let's take a look at the top stories. Presidency defends Tinubu'S $100,000 reward for Super Falcons. Northern leaders gather in Kaduna to review Tinubu'S 2-year performance. Plus, Russia strikes prison in Ukraine, killing 17 and wounding dozens. Stay tuned for details of these and more in a moment. Good afternoon, and many thanks for joining us on the news. First in the news this afternoon is from the national scene, where the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, has defended the reward package given to the Super Falcons following their victory at the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON in Morocco. Onanuga, in a post on his X handle, expressed surprise at the criticism from some Nigerians over the presidential rewards, questioning why the gesture was being met with disapproval. He drew a comparison with the BB Naija reality show, pointing out that its winner receives a 150 million naira grand prize. Recall that President Bola Tinubu offered each player a cash reward of $100,000 and each coach and support staff member $50,000. He also conferred the national honor of Officer of the Order of the Niger OON on all 24 players and 11 technical crew members. Additionally, each member of the team will receive a 3-bedroom apartment under the federal government's Renewed Hope housing scheme. Meanwhile, First Lady Remi Tinubu today announced a 1 billion naira donation by the Renewed Hope Initiative (RHI) to support families displaced by a suspected headers attack in Benue State. She made the announcement at the new banquet hall of the Benue State Government House during her condolence visit to the state following the attack on Yelewate community in June, which claimed over 100 lives. According to her, the donation aligned with the mission of the Renewed Hope Initiative is intended to help displaced families regain stability, return to their livelihoods, and build better lives. We move away from that to prominent northern political, traditional, and business leaders today conversed on the historic city of Kaduna State to assess the performance of President Bola Tinubu's administration 2 years after assuming office. The meeting, currently holding at the Arewa House, the former residence of the late Premier of Northern Nigeria, Sir Ahmadu Bello, was convened by the Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation, a socio-political think tank committed to championing the ideals of the late Sardauna. The gathering, which continues on Wednesday, attracted a cross-section of the North's creme de la creme, former governors, ex-ministers, traditional rulers, technocrats, civil society actors, and religious leaders, underscoring the seriousness with which the region views its place in the unfolding Nigerian narrative under Tinubu. On electoral matters, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has said that the commission is implementing recommendations of international election observation missions aimed at improving future elections in the country. The INEC boss, who spoke at a meeting with members of the ECOWAS network of electoral commissions, ECONEC, noted that the recommendations by the ECOWAS election observers that monitor the 2023 general elections form part of the Commission's 142 recommendations for electoral reform, which resulted from wide-ranging consultations with critical institutions and stakeholders. He further commended ECOWAS for partnering with ECONEC in deploying follow-up missions to member countries, adding that the follow-up mission will interact with the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC. In a separate development, politician and former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has expressed deep concern over Nigeria's rapidly escalating debt profile. In a statement on his X handle, Obi warned that the country's fiscal trajectory could compromise future generations and worsen living conditions for millions of citizens. His warning comes 1 week after the Senate approved a fresh wave of borrowing for the country. According to Obi, the measures bring the nation's total public debt to approximately 187 trillion naira, with projections suggesting it could exceed 200 trillion naira by year end. We move now to Africa, where Cameroonian opposition leader Maurice Kamto is challenging his disqualification from October's presidential election, filing an appeal with the country's Constitutional Council. Recall that last week, Kamto, who was runner-up to incumbent Paul Biya in 2018, was barred from this year's election by Cameroon's electoral oversight body, ELECAM. ELECAM cited the fact that Manidem, the party Kamto represents, had already submitted a candidate for the 2025 vote. Reports say Kamto is widely seen as the main challenger to 92-year-old President Biya, the world's oldest serving head of state who has ruled Cameroon since 1982. Still in Africa, Senegal Justice Minister Ousmane Diagne has formally requested the probe in a letter to the Attorney General, aiming to shed light on years of political violence between 2021 and 2024. Diagne tasked the prosecutor of the Republic in Dakar, Ibrahima Ndoye, to lead the investigation, mandating him to determine accountability and decide whether to pursue charges against civilians, law enforcement, or political leaders. Reports say at least 80 people were killed and dozens more seriously injured in clashes with security forces and civilians. On the foreign scene, Ukrainian officials say a Russian airstrike on a prison in a frontline region in southeastern Ukraine has killed 17 people and wounded 42 others. Regional leader Ivan Fedorov said the overnight attack in Zaporizhia also damaged surrounding homes, adding that Russian forces launched 8 strikes using high-explosive aerial glide bombs. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned Russia's deliberate strike on the grounds of a correctional facility, accusing Moscow of killing Ukrainians when a ceasefire could have long been in place. Meanwhile, Ukraine's Justice Ministry said 4 bombs hit the Bilenka Penitentiary, destroying the dining hall, administrative headquarters, and quarantine area, adding that all those killed and wounded were inmates. Still on the foreign scene, United States President Donald Trump has set a new deadline of 10 or 12 days for Russia to reach a peace deal in its war on Ukraine or face tough new sanctions, underscoring his frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin for prolonging the conflict. Speaking in Scotland, where he is holding meetings with European leaders and playing golf, Trump said he was disappointed in Putin and shortened the 50-day deadline he had set this month. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has hailed Trump's clear stance and expressed determination over his remarks targeting Russia to end the war in Ukraine. Still to come in the news. Portugal's Felix joins Ronaldo at Al Nassr in Saudi. Stay tuned for details of this in a jiffy. Glad to have you back. Now we conclude our news stories. On our business news, Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals has withdrawn its lawsuit against the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, and 5 other petroleum companies. The case, filed at the Federal High Court, Abuja, was formally withdrawn by the plaintiff's legal team. According to a notice of discontinuance filed before the court, Dangote Refinery resolved to end the proceedings against all 7 defendants, including AYM Shafa Limited, AA Rano Limited, T-Time Petroleum Limited, 2015 Petroleum Limited, and Matrix Petroleum Services Limited. In the notice, no official reason was given for its decision to discontinue the case. Details of the decision, including the relief sought and whether an out-of-court settlement was reached, remain unclear. Still in business, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has dissociated itself from the purported annual general meeting of Tourist Company of Nigeria, PLC, held on July 25, 2025, declaring that the company remains under its regulatory oversight. In a public notice, the Commission stated that any resolutions passed at the meeting, including the removal of interim directors and the appointment of a new board, are null and void. It described the actions by some majority shareholders who convened the meeting as a clear violation of a suspension order earlier issued by the SEC, adding that such moves undermine ongoing efforts to stabilize the company. It further reaffirmed that the board of Tourist Company remains as constituted before the purported meeting, with SEC-appointed interim directors still in place. Talking health now, researchers, medical experts and policymakers have called on Nigerians to embrace cancer preventive vaccines, stressing that doing so could drastically reduce mortality rates linked to liver and cervical cancers in the country. The call was made during the Policy for Cancer Designation, a program organized by the Cancer Control Center for Research and Implementation Science and Equity, held in Abuja. Speaking with journalists, a principal investigator and professor of medicine at Washington University, Juliet Iwelumor, emphasized the urgency of proactive vaccination. Iwelumor explained the aim of the designation, which brought together researchers, students, and community members to develop solutions that translate scientific research into policy. Still in health, a microbiologist from the University of Uyo, Dr. Samuel Ibok, has urged Nigerians to take preventive health measures seriously to reduce the spread of hepatitis. Dr. Ibok described hepatitis as the inflammation of the liver, not the kidney, as commonly misunderstood. He explained that this disease is caused by different viruses, including hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. According to him, common causes of hepatitis include excessive alcohol intake, having multiple sexual partners, and consuming contaminated food.
Organisms, and when they are infected or being injured by any means, they got inflamed. The hepatitis A and hepatitis E, these are the one that causes acute infections. The acute infection is the one that doesn't last for a long time. The hepatitis A and E are being transmitted through fecal-oral. When these viruses are being secreted in the stools, in the feces, and when an individual feed or drink anything that is being contaminated by stool, they are at risk of contacting these hepatitis. Hepatitis B and C, these are the ones that can cause both the acute infection and the chronic infections. So the mode of transmission, like gazing the body, and like I did not mention multiple sex partners too, because hepatitis C can be transmitted through sexual intercourse. Hepatitis C virus is seen in almost all the body fluid, even in the saliva, in the sweat, in the semen, in the vaginal secretion. So if it can be transmitted.
In an interview with our health correspondent, Emedion James, the microbiologist stressed the importance of maintaining proper personal hygiene, attending regular medical checkups, and getting vaccinated as effective ways to prevent liver complications such as cirrhosis and liver cancer.
The people at risk. Okay, like I said, that hepatitis A and E are being caused by are being transmitted by fecal-oral. That means through the oral route, through the mouth, by eating what has been contaminated by the feces. So good sanitary condition can help prevent. So having a good sanitary condition and good hygiene in preparing your food, in treating your drinking water, can help prevent hepatitis A and E. But for the hepatitis B and C, which are being transmitted through percutaneous or tissues, that means you have to pierce the body for it to enter. So it can enter through blood transfusion. So anyone that is taking blood transfusion is at risk. That is why nowadays, before a blood is being transfused, it has to be thoroughly screened for all these diseases that can be transmitted through blood, so that you can now protect as drug abusers, those that normally the drug users, the drug abusers, they use syringes, choke them, like they shed syringes. This one, have you finished? Give it to me. Collect and choke his own. This one, choke and choke and choke. So if there was some transmitted among themselves, also the health workers are also at risk, because they are the ones that have this interaction. Most of the time we heard of needle prick. So needle prick, if it was a needle that was used to give injection to someone that has hepatitis B and then mistakenly now prick the health workers, it can now transmit the infection.
We move now to sports, where Nigeria's the Tigers will face either Cameroon or Angola in the quarterfinals of the 2025 Women's AfroBasket in Côte d'Ivoire. The Tigers, who, regaining African champions, booked their place in the last 8 after a hard-fought 60-55 win against Mozambique in their second Group D game. It was 2 wins from 2 matches after they opened their campaign with a dominant 92-45 win against Rwanda on Saturday. The 2 victories saw the Nigerian team top the group and will now face the winner between Cameroon and Angola on Thursday, July 31. Still talking sports, Portuguese forward João Felix has signed a 2-year deal with Saudi Arabia's Al Nassr, where he will join Cristiano Ronaldo. Felix, now 25, made a blockbuster move from Benfica to Atletico Madrid in 2019, but has since seen his fortunes decline. Felix remains one of the most expensive transfers in history following his move to Atletico for 127.7 million euros in 2019. He has since had stints at Barcelona, AC Milan and Chelsea, but has failed to score more than 10 goals in a season since leaving Benfica. On our entertainment news, former Big Brother Naija reality star Mercy Eke has revealed the housemate whom she considers a 10 all over 10 in the ongoing season 10. Eke, who won the 4th edition of the reality show in 2019, declared that Dede is 10 all over 10, signaling to her fans that she is supporting the 23-year-old Delta-born entrepreneur. Earlier, her colleagues Erica and Tacha argued over which housemate will win the 10th edition of the reality show. Erica backed Sabrina while Tacha tipped Isabella to win the show. And that's all we have for you at this time. To ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Ofonono Joseph. Have a fabulous evening ahead.